The White Sox had a great season and their future is bright. Unfortunately, the Astros ended their season in the ALDS and their last game of that series was bad, like really bad. But today I'm here to talk about how the White Sox can improve and get back into the postseason, so let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to start things off by saying the White Sox made a bad choice in hiring managers. I know they won the AL Central and won 90 plus games with the old fossil, but they had A.J. Hinch right there, and honestly, things could have gone better this year with him as manager. La Russa didn't know the new rules of baseball, he didn't defend his players and called out some of his own, and he made some questionable decisions in the ALDS, and honestly, it felt like this team could have had more wins. I'm not going to suggest firing him though, because I don't like the idea of firing managers and head coaches after one season, even if they look really bad. Trading for Craig Kimbrell turned out to be a mistake because he was not as effective as a setup man as he was a closer for the Cubs, and his postseason was something to forget. They also didn't do a great job of getting a solid second baseman replacement. They had a great chance to get Eduardo Escobar but fell flat and ended up getting Cesar Hernandez, who was ineffective during his time with the Sox. The White Sox might lose a few key players to free agency this offseason. There is one player I really think they need to try to keep, Ryan Tepera. He was the White Sox best trade deadline acquisition, posting a 2.50 ERA plus of 176, and a 32% strikeout rate. And I really think they would benefit a lot if they brought him back. Just make sure he doesn't accuse teams that have good home and road splits of cheating. Now I know what y'all are thinking, Charlie, what about Carlos Rodon? This might be a hot take, but if his market value was lower, I would say bring him back. He was really good this year and it was without a doubt his best season, posting a 2.37 ERA plus of 183, and a strikeout rate of 34.6%. But it really feels like he's going to cost a lot of money, and this is his first season where he was really good and he has an injury history, and maybe he's finally living up to the hype he had when he was selected, but I think re-signing him to a massive contract is a huge risk. If you can get him back on a cheaper deal, then do it. I know you want to do this, although maybe I shouldn't believe what Bob has to say, but don't do this. Just let Kimbrell walk. No team is going to want him with that contract, and y'all wouldn't get much for him, and he's clearly not good as a White Sox, and the bullpen will be fine without him. Don't pick up Cesar Hernandez's option either. There are a lot better players in free agency that can play second base. Let Luis Garcia walk. I think they'll be fine without him. This White Sox team is really talented, but it could hurt to go after some players in free agency. I think they would really benefit in getting another starting pitcher. They have a good rotation with Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, Dylan Cease, and Reynaldo Lopez, but they might not get Rodon back, and I honestly think they need to move Dallas Keuchel out the rotation somehow. Robbie Ray would be the perfect Carlos Rodon replacement, a potential Cy Young Award winner replacing a guy who was at one point a Cy Young candidate. Alex Cobb would also be a pretty good gift for them. Now the bullpen is really good, but it wouldn't hurt if they went after a left-handed relief pitcher like Aaron Loup, whose 0.95 ERA I drooled over in the Rays video, and Andrew Miller, who's good against lefties. The White Sox have to get a second baseman. They no longer have Nick Madrigal, and there are a lot of good free agents that can play second base, like Marcus Semien, who just matched 45 homers this year, and he's got a pretty good glove too. Javier Baez showed he can play second base, and even though he has a huge strikeout problem, he would still be a good second baseman for the Sox, or maybe let him play shortstop and move Tim Anderson to second base. Chris Taylor, he would be great for the Sox, and he can also play outfield if needed. Eduardo Escobar, this time they have a better chance at getting him than they did at the deadline, and Donovan Solano wouldn't be a bad player to have at second. There aren't a lot of players in the White Sox farm system that excite me as much as it did a couple of years ago, but one guy that I like and I think he should be called up is Jake Burger. He had a pretty good season in the minors and showed he can play in the MLB, and he could definitely help the Sox out in 2022. The White Sox have some things to fix as a team before they can take the next step. For starters, stop grounding into double plays. They were third in the MLB in grounding into double plays with 139. They also need to play better defense. They had the 5th worst defensive run saves with -39 and had the 6th most errors with 97. They need to improve Dylan Cease's fastball. It's his most used pitch, but it's gotten him into most trouble. He's allowed 13 home runs, opponent batting average is .272, opponent OPS is .817, and WRC WRC Plus is 134. Now, I will say it has gotten better ever since he entered the MLB, but they need to make sure it continues to be that way. They need to also get Reynaldo Lopez to develop a third pitch. If they want Lopez to continue to be a starting pitcher, he needs to develop a third pitch and not only use a fastball and slider. Maybe continue working on his curveball and changeup. They need to also improve Garrett Crochet's fastball. In 2020, Crochet's fastball was absolutely nasty and very effective with a strikeout percentage of 33%, opponent batting average of 167, opponent OPS of 330, and -2 WRC+. But this year it was way less effective, with opponents hitting 288 against it, OPS of 802, and WRC+ of 132. His velo went down. I think his arm injury had something to do with it. I don't know if his fastball will be the same again, but they have to make it more effective in 2022 than it was in 2021. Lastly, Yasmani Grandal has to be a better postseason hitter. The White Sox best hitters did have a good postseason. Grandal did have an important home run in Game 3 of the ALDS, but it doesn't excuse his 143 batting average and 635 OPS in the ALDS. He's not getting paid $18 million a year to play like this in a postseason. He needs to perform better. So yeah, that's all I have to say about the Chicago White Sox and what they need to do this offseason. Y'all have a great day, and I'll see y'all later.